If your mind's running circles again, second guessing every word you said, take a breath, reset your track. You don't need to hold yourself back. Stop overthinking, start connecting. Confidence maxing.
All right, welcome to another episode of Confidence Maxing Live. It is good to see you. I hope it is good to see me as well. I'm excited about our show today. What are we going to talk about, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you. Today, we're going to be talking about high agency versus low agency. We're going to be talking about the fresh Pratt of Bel Air and more. So, let's hop into it. Our first item today. This was shared by George Mack. You might remember I did a storytelling breakdown on one of George Mack's stories. Can't remember what episode it is, but it would be on my YouTube channel where you'd be able to look up that episode. So he talks about the high agency triangle and the low agency triangle. So the high agency triangle, equal parts, I will figure it out, I can fix it if it breaks, and I am willing to be misunderstood. In the low agency triangle is, you gotta love the font here. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of the action going wrong, and I'm afraid what people will think. And so there's a lot of talk around this concept of high agency recently. And I like it. I mean, I actually like it. Like, I think it's useful to have terms that make it easy to understand concept and understand your world and all that kind of stuff. And I also think at the same time, we sometimes give new names to things that we just know that are just regular concepts, like getting things done. And so if you're the kind of person who gets things done, you intuitively, like, you'll understand, I'll figure it out, I can fix it if it breaks, and I'm willing to be misunderstood. That's okay. And if you are someone who kind of gets a lot less done, is probably the right way to say it, you are absolutely going to gravitate towards, I don't know what to do, I'm afraid of the action going wrong, and I'm afraid of what people will think. A lot of overthinkers tend to fall into, and here's the other nuance as well, is that it's not quite as simple as I'm always high agency or I'm always low agency. Because I have plenty of clients that are a high agency in some regards, right? Like when it comes to technical related things and stuff doing with like the technical aspect of their job, it's gonna be a really high agency. When it comes to communication skills, which is what I help people with, suddenly the level of agency goes down, where I'm afraid of an action going wrong, I'm afraid of what people will think, and I don't know exactly what to do. I would even go so far as to argue that it's understandable whenever anyone's starting to learn a new skill, that they'll likely have a moment of low agency where maybe they haven't even started the skill, but they're kind of researching, like, what does all this involve? And you start to understand that it's a much bigger thing than maybe you thought. And then, I mean, it's understandable to have a moment where you feel like, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of doing the wrong thing, and I'm afraid of what people might think. But then you have to override that if that's kind of your default operating system. And you have to just say to yourself, I'll figure it out. And I'll fix it if it breaks, and I'm willing to be misunderstood. And once you realize at a certain point, this high agency triangle, the people that get the most done, or have the biggest impact, just the people who kind of seem relentless, uh, they're going to have some mix of this. Um, uh, I won't paint with too broad of a brush, but I mean, a lot of the entrepreneurs I know, guess what? Especially the smaller the company, where they have to be high agency because they gesture around like who exactly is going to do it if not me, or people with small teams, like when there's just not enough people to spread around to figure out the issues. I'll figure it out. I can fix it if it breaks, and I'm willing to be misunderstood. So I really like that. My question for you is, where in your life have you been tempted to be low agency, but you need to be high agency? And you can even pretend to be high agency for a little bit until it clicks. That is the fun part about it. All right. We're going to move on to our next item. So our next item, this broke kind of halfway through the day yesterday, and I think I can preface this with, like, no one wants another fire, like another fire in the Southern California area. Not what people want, and it's as simple as that. But this tweet from Spencer Pratt came across my feed yesterday. While Karen Bass is worried about getting meth heads new grills, meaning teeth, the LAFD has 36 less firefighters than we had when the Palisades fire hit. Folks, you need to vote like your life depends on it, because it does. And so, of all the things that, it's kind of a tricky topic because, again, no one wants a fire. Fires are bad. Like, there's no benefit to a fire. It is destructive by nature. Sure, it can keep you warm if it's a small contained fire, but an uncontained fire, no, it's just not good in any way, shape, and form. What I'll observe, like, this is not me assigning an opinion to anything. What I'll just observe is that for a area that had a catastrophic fire, at the beginning of 2025, for a fire to happen right now, so close to the election, in people that were impacted, and you could argue that just most likely a very large swath of the city was impacted, right? Even if you're far away from a fire, if you just know it's in your area, you're at least thinking about it. That's just what it is. So to have another fire break out, and I was looking at the map of this thing, it's sort of northwest of Los Angeles, in the Simi Valley area. Now, I'm not going to pretend I know the ins and outs of every area in Southern California, but it does not appear that it is in Los Angeles, anything like that. But it's close enough. You look at the map, you're like, oh, well, close enough. That's going to conjure up all the feelings that people had when it came to the fire in early 2025. And what I can tell you is that for the people who say in the last 18 months have come to the realization that maybe the fire response was lacking in any way, shape, and form, then guess what? This is just going to solidify those feelings even more. So, I've never really talked about it all that much publicly, but when my wife and I lost everything in a fire in 2013, like, that was an arson related fire, and this is all public record. Like, there are court cases for this that you could probably look up. But the circumstances around it um, was that a person living in the apartment complex, like it was like a lady in her 50s, of all things. She was setting fires around the apartment complex. So by the time that the quote unquote the big fire happened, where everyone had to evacuate, um, that was the fifth time that a fire had been set, or at least if the fifth time that um, like something had happened, like a low. I don't know how you would frame this, like a low level arson, if that's even a thing. And so by the fifth time, we just didn't think anything of it because yeah, okay, we'll evacuate again. But that time when we got out of the door, we looked at the roof and the fire had shot up the trash chute and engulfed the entire roof of the building, and like flames like you wouldn't believe, gigantic flames. It looked like the mouth of hell had opened up. And the crazy thing is, they didn't even catch the woman. Like there had to be. So we moved in, at that point we were effectively homeless, but we had some friends in the area, effectively down the street, and we moved in with them, and we would hear fire trucks going back to the apartment because they hadn't caught her yet. And if you've ever been involved in anything like that, like dealing with insurance and trying to get things in and out, and like there was a palpable sense of anger because the sort of the real estate community or the like the property management is the right way to say it. The property management people weren't very communicative of what was going on. I mean, and I'm not kidding. There was like the ATF and like it was wild. And so when they kept having fires, like you would not believe the anger, that like the visible anger in the crowd around the apartment complex. You wouldn't believe how angry people were. And so when back to this latest fire, nobody wants a fire, nobody thinks a fire is good, but when people sense that things aren't being handled correctly, and then there's even more reason where people think, oh well, this is just another fire that they're going to mess up. It's really not good for anyone that would be like the incumbent, like anyone that would be in office, being the person who's oversaw the last fire and is overseeing this fire. Like it wouldn't matter who it is, it just wouldn't end well for them, because people are going to assign any incompetence whatsoever in this newest fire. They're going to assign that to whoever is currently in office, and there's going to be some feeling transference from a fire that was managed poorly in the past. And so keep an eye out for that. Definitely hope to get this fire under control, because the last thing in the world you want, looking at these nice houses on the other side of the road here, like last thing you want is for people lose their property, or God forbid, anything more permanent than that, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at our next item for today. So I brought this up yesterday, and I just had a passing thought where I was wondering to myself mostly, because the word on the street is Nithya Raman jumped in the Los Angeles mayoral race hours before the deadline. I think that this next part's unconfirmed, so take it with as much salt or as little salt as you want. But I hear the thinking was that Karen Bass wanted Nithi Raman to jump into the race to split the vote in the way that they do elections in Los Angeles for mayor, to split the vote and hopefully get Spencer Pratt third so that he wouldn't move on to a general, right? But then, just got me thinking, like, I would label Karen Bass and Nithi Raman as professional rake steppers. So, like, they're walking around the yard and they just find the rakes and they step on them and, it smacks them in the face, right? So, consider, is Raman peeling even one vote from a would-be Pratt voter? I'll say that again. Is Raman peeling even one vote from a would-be Pratt voter? Is someone who would vote for Pratt, is that person switching their vote to Raman? Or is Raman only peeling votes from Bass? And you could argue the inverse. Is Bass peeling votes from Raman? Are they only peeling votes from each other? I don't have an answer for you, but I have a suspicion that the Venn diagram of people who are voting for Spencer Pratt are not voting for Nithi Raman. Like, those circles, I don't think there's any overlap in those circles whatsoever. I could see there being a little overlap in the Bass Pratt voters for no other reason than people who really just don't pay attention. They'll look at whoever the incumbent is, and some people will just vote for the incumbent because they're the incumbent. Probably a lot of those voters are surprised to find themselves in the voting booth at all. But if they do make it to the voting booth, they're like, oh well, who's the mayor? Oh, okay. So I think that's going to be really interesting to watch because my hunch is that Spencer Pratt is going to win, and my hunch is that he'll win with 51% of the vote, and there won't even be a general, because my hunch, again, this isn't based on any insight other than Spencer Pratt's skills and persuasion that I've talked about before. Raman and Bass are just going to take votes from each other. It's the professional rake steppers can't help but step on rakes. It's about the least surprising thing, and so I would keep an eye out for that, because I think that's what you'll probably see. Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. And our next item today is, there's a new article by, I call him AD. You might know him as American Debunk. And he talks about the genius of Spencer Pratt's campaign. He's going to do a series on this. Really good article, worth a read. And you might notice that yours truly makes an appearance in this article. Thank you, AD. I'm excited to be included. So I'll read a couple of passages here. Pratt's campaign, whether by design or instinct, is giving that coalition something it has rarely gotten from the other side. Content that it actually enjoys consuming. The videos are fun. The AI content is creative, referring to the user-generated content of people who are fans of Pratt. And then there is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And we're going to talk about this, believe me. In a parody video that has spread further than most paid ad campaigns could dream of reaching, Pratt recut the theme song from one of the most universally beloved pieces of American culture into a campaign spot, custom lyrics, his own story of losing his Pacific Palisades home in the fire and relocating to Bel-Air, blaming city leadership. It is funny and nostalgic. It is self-aware in exactly the way that makes people want to share it. And so, if you haven't seen the Spencer Pratt Fresh Prince of Bel-Air video, you are in for a treat. From Spencer's account, it's already been viewed 3.8 million times. So just a few times, really. And I'm going to play it for you now so you get a taste.
Now this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down, and I had to take a minute to run for mayor. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel-Air. In West Los Angeles, Palisades, my backyard is where I spent most of my days, feeding hummingbirds, relaxing all cool, avoiding all the bums outside of the school. When a couple politicians who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood, I got in one little fire. My mom got scared and said, "You're moving in with Harvey Levin in Bel-Air." I pulled out from my lot about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the rubble, "Yo ho, smell you later." I moved to my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, so how about that? It's like I'll talk to the unks for a second. At least that's what my nieces and nephews call someone my age, right? For a huge range of millennial and Gen X, maybe a little bit of late boomers, and maybe a little tiny sliver of early Gen Z. You can say in West Philadelphia, and then people will just know the theme song from the Will Smith series, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. To say it's iconic, it is underselling it completely, right? And so for Spencer Pratt to tap into that is completely the right move. And you layer on top of that, actually, that so with the whole TMZ thing, like they tried to do a gotcha where they're like, oh, well, he's actually living in a hotel in Bel-Air. Well, the reason why he's living in a hotel in Bel-Air is for his own safety, because he can't have a 360-degree field of view to his shining silver trailer when people are texting him, these texts of aggression and saying that they're going to do him harm. You just can't be in a field of rubble in a shiny silver trailer. It just doesn't work that way. And so he's turning that perceived objection, or I would say it's like a low IQ objection, where it's oh, well, he doesn't really live in his trailer. Well, duh. But he's turning that perceived objection into a meme, right? And we talked about this on the space on X last Friday, how he's one of the hallmarks of a really good persuader. Like you can't persuade anyone if you haven't either manufactured or harnessed attention and energy. Like, sorry, it just doesn't work. The extreme example is like if you're very persuasive in a closet and no one's in that closet with you, right? Like no one's there to see it. Guess what? It's just not going to work very well. But if you can manufacture attention, which is exactly what Spencer Pratt did, and the word on the street is that it took his team about an hour to shoot it, and so it took almost no time at all. They recut it and they got it out. and then he's got 3.8 million views. And I've seen at least a few articles written about this, and so it starts to generate its own sort of gravitational pull. And then people see it, they enjoy consuming the content, to AD's point. And what does that do? People can only hold so much in their brains at one time, and so it there's very little room. I'll put it to you this way: the more mental space that Spencer Pratt takes up, the less mental space there is to hold on to either of the other two candidates. Where Nithya who? Karen who? This is why I said in my article. Also from Friday. Friday was a busy day. Last week was a busy week. That's why I said in my article, June 1st, it will feel like Spencer Pratt is running unopposed. And we're on track for that. Like, we're completely on track for that. And I'll layer on top of it. Just saw a post come through by Doc Hypnosis, where he says that how important we'll call it the quiet Pratt vote is going to be in Los Angeles. At this point, like, there's a non-zero chance that the quiet Pratt vote, which would be understandable, where people say, oh, you know, maybe they don't talk about who they're voting for, or maybe they kind of keep it on the down low, or they just talk about it with friends, like they're really close friends. There's a non-zero chance that the quiet Pratt vote becomes the loud Pratt vote, where look for some kind of dominoes to start falling, where someone that you would never expect to vote for Pratt comes out and publicly endorses Pratt, or says, I'm voting for Pratt, something like that. And then it could be that more people will start speaking up. And so I think there's a real chance where probably everyone but the hardcore, like the ramen sort of people that would fall into like the socialist category, probably everyone who isn't in that category at least is giving Spencer Pratt a thought, like a really serious thought, for reasons that I've already talked about. Contrast. Pratt has the high ground. He has the complete high ground in this election. He's garnering the most attention and energy. And I think he's starting to do things to help people think past the sale as well, where he's talking about all the great architects he wants to bring in that have already offered their services for free, and what the city's going to look like once he's mayor, and all this kind of stuff. People are going to start imagining him in a more mayoral way. And it's been very, very fun to watch. And yeah, it's like, he's really good at this. Like, he's really good. Like, we haven't seen this kind of persuasion in, you know, the last 10 years. And so it's been a blast. I'm having a blast. And like, I keep thinking like the Pratt content's going to run out. Like, it's going to run out, right? But I just don't think it's going to. Like, like, there are now videos of, I'll see if I can pull it up here. There are now videos of just people. Yeah, here we go. This is at the end of a Fox 11. Looks like they were just doing like a man on the street style interview with these two women, and look what the woman said at the end.
And you guys, vote Spencer Pratt.
Yes, of course. It's not a campaign here. Thank you, ladies.
And so now I don't know who these women are. Like, apparently some people in the comments know who these women are. I don't, you know. But if you are getting indeed people that are just regular people on the street plugging Spencer Pratt at the end of man on the street spots, I'm sorry, it's over. like it's over. Like it's so over that all signs point to a 51% Pratt vote on June 2nd. It's an open run to the tape, in my opinion. He just needs to keep doing exactly what he's doing, and yeah, I think there's gonna be an overwhelming amount of people who are gonna quietly vote for Spencer Pratt, and you might even see that break containment, so to speak, where those people are actively recruiting anyone they can to vote for Spencer Pratt, and you may not even see that until like a couple of days before, you know, because when it comes down to the wire, people really kind of they may exhibit behaviors that they wouldn't have normally exhibited when there was still time, right? And so that's all I got for you today. I'm going to give a little plug for my book. This is my book, Confidence Maxing. It helps people become more socially competent and confident. It'll help you tell better stories. It'll help you reframe limiting beliefs. It'll help you deal with your inner jerk, and help you never run out of things to say conversation, help you start conversations, and even help you make more friends. The reviews are in, and they are really good, and it's available on Amazon. It's available on Audible, and I hope you check it out, because spent a while writing it, spent 20 years learning the lessons, spent 10 years teaching the lessons, and then you get all that goodness right in your Kindle or on your phone, that way you can listen while you're mowing the grass or whatever you're doing. And other than that, I'm gonna play you out with the jingle. Feel free to hit me up on the socials at the Jeff Callahan, and we will talk again tomorrow.
If your mind's running circles again, second guessing every word you said, take a breath, reset your track. You don't need to hold yourself back. Stop overthinking, start connecting.